Inside the Birds is what's going on, everybody? It is Geoff Mosher and Adam Caplan here for Inside the Birds. Week 1 in the NFL is past. The Eagles are already 1-0. They've already got an NFC East win. They beat the Cowboys in the season opener on Thursday night. Some good things we saw. Eagles linebacker play. Jahan Dotson catching a deep ball. However, a couple concerns that have come out of the game that we'll get into later. The bottom line, Adam, is football is underway, and I hope everybody enjoyed their week 1 viewing. We've waited a long time for this, and I'm excited. I thought the Friday night game with the Chiefs and Chargers was exciting, and we'll get into what that means.
Yeah,
a little bit, but just happy to be back here.
Yeah, I am. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, it's funny. The tenor, just looking through social media, it seems like Eagle fans are mixed. So the fans that really know what's going on, they're concerned about the corner position opposite Kenyon Mitchell. But, hey, they won that game. That's kind of like the tenor. It's like, okay, we won. But, okay, we understand a couple things. But I thought someone had a really good point on our YouTube comments. Look, last year there's significant questions coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, they were all answered. They're just about all positive. They won a Super Bowl. Now, the difference is they lost 5 starters from last season, so that's a difference. But it's only week 1. They won. The coaches did it. By the way, I want to give Vic Fangio and Clint Hurt credit. The job that they did. I know it wasn't easy. You have a sudden change like that. Your best defensive players lost immediately because he spit on someone who's thrown out of the game. Like there's no book on how to deal with that. Over time, they did a really good job, I thought.
Absolutely. Definitely. What's my favorite expression about week 1, Adam Caplan? Week 1 is a con job.
I called it a lot. I said to Mike Gill, I said on Friday, it could lie to you. You what you see isn't always what you get. Exactly.
Right. Bill Barnwell from ESPN had a great post about week 1 of last year. Commanders lost by 17. The 49ers scored 32 points against a good Jets defense. The Patriots won, and the Saints scored 40 points in week 1 of all last year. So you can't put too much into week 1. That being said, a couple of things that did come out of the game that I think are more than just flukish things we're going to talk about. But the first thing I want to do in this pod is just finally finalize for all of our great listeners and viewers what kind of coverage they'll be getting on Inside the Birds this week. Last week was a little bit strange because of the Thursday night game. This is more of a normal week for everybody. So we've discussed the debut, which is going to be happening. In fact, it'll be out today. Part 1 of Birds Weekly with Ray Didinger and Derek Gunn. It's a fantastic show. You're going to love it. It's amazing. You're getting it twice a week. We're going to run obviously today, Monday, the show will come out. Friday, they'll preview the Eagles Chiefs games as well. So you get it twice a week, every week. On top of that, you're still getting Football at 4 that we do with 97.3 ESPN every day, Monday through Friday. Andrew DeCecco has DeCecco Dailies nearly every day, along with his rookie diary. He actually got one out before the season opener, and it was really cool. It was with Mac McWilliams. Let me just tell you guys, if you didn't catch the first one, Mac is an interesting guy. He's not like shy or reserved, so it's going to be a really great rookie diary season long. Of course, Inside the Birds pregame show, post-game show. We'll have pregame show with Greg Cosell, as we already had one of those last week. We're going to take some of our Patreon stuff that we do, cut it up, and give you guys a little taste of that on the mainstream platform. Inside the Data with Sam Finkel, by popular demand, Adam. People love Sam Finkel's analytics breakdowns, and we'll do a show with him pretty much once a week throughout the NFL season, going through the past game and all the interesting data, next-gen stats, and all the things that came out of that. So tons. I don't think I missed. Oh, and our BCB show. So
go ahead.
We used to partner with the Fanatic. Now we are partnered with WBCB. Does Merrill Reese own that station, or
he's a partner in it? Yeah.
Oh, he's a partner in it. Okay. We're going to do a Tuesday night show on BCB that is also going to be simultaneously live streamed on the Inside the Birds YouTube channel, and then also will be available for podcast after. And it'll be like your Tuesday night specialty show. We'll probably have some former Eagles on with us, myself, Adam. There'll be Merrill Reese at times will appear on the show, which is great. Andrew DeCecco at times will appear on the show. So really looking forward to that, and probably get some Eagles and former Eagles on the show as well.
Real quick.
Yeah.
We're actually hosting it, just to be clear. We're not just appearing on it, we're hosting it. Andrew and I are hosting tomorrow at Parks Casino. You'll be hosting at some point, I think, in Marlton, New Jersey.
Yep.
Andrew and I will be at Parks. Merle will be hosting at some point, I think, in Warrington.
Yep.
So yeah, you and I, Andrew, we're all over it. We're basically the hosts of the show. So this is really cool, man. We appreciate Matt Miro and Merle and everyone else, and Josh Weinfeld, our business manager, putting this together. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you know what we'll do for our Monday podcast? We will tell our listeners where we're going to be the next night, the Tuesday night, in case they want to stop by, talk to us, just talk some Eagles football. So week one, tomorrow night's show, Tuesday's show is going to be, do you remember what location that's going to be at?
Parks Casino in Bensalem, yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. So if you want to come out, and that's going to be you and Andrew?
Yeah. Anyone who wants to have a beer after we're done, let's do it. If you show up, we'll have beers with you.
Awesome. Great stuff. All right. So that is a week filled with Inside the Birds programming. We're really looking forward to it. Of course, I didn't mention this, but because it's obvious, but you're going to have your ITB podcasts, of course, 2 or 3 times a week as well. Now, I know people have asked. I'll address it now. There is not going to be a Q&A this season with Quentin Michael and Jason Avant. So before anybody says anything or types a comment in, we're all good. Like, we have great respect for Quentin Michael and Jason Avant. They have respect for us. We're all friends. This is not a falling out. It is just the natural progression of everybody in their lives at this point. Jason's on doing postgame on NBC Sports. Q's out in living in Boise. So it took a lot to get into the show to make it happen for the last few years. And just logistically, for a couple of different reasons, it couldn't work out. But we have all talked. We're cool. We are still going to try to get Q and Jason in on the platforms at times throughout the year. They have said they would do it. So everything's all good. But unfortunately, a great show. One of my favorite shows on Inside the Birds. It had to come to an end, but that's why we're trying to also give you guys some fresh new programming with Birds Weekly and Inside the Data, and just get you guys different perspectives, but within the identity of Inside the Birds.
Yeah, you never know what happens down the line. We'd love to work with those guys again. It's just logistically, the timing and everything else that goes into this, it just wasn't going to work. So,
right.
By the way, so Greg Cosell is back tomorrow Inside the Tape, and then
I forgot to mention? I forgot to mention Inside the Tape, didn't I?
I think you might have mentioned, but real quick. So this year there's a change, which is super cool, correct?
Yep. We're breaking it up into 2. We're going to do offense in one show, defense in another. Now, it might be the first show is offense, second show is defense. The next week it could be defense and offense. But either way, you're getting Inside the Tape twice a week with Greg Cosell. And I think that's better for the listeners, because we're not going to try to jam pack an entire game into one pod. We want to really break it down and go through. And for the people who watch on YouTube, we'll still have the all 22 clips for Greg to break down. So we'll be able to do it offense, and then in a different show defense, that we're getting everything covered. You're getting more coverage out of it. And Greg's
awesome,
with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. And then our Patreon crew tomorrow night, the tier 3s, they get Greg, man. He loves it. He loves it. If you haven't joined patreon.com/Inside the Birds, get Cosell Tuesday nights.
There you go. Love it. All right. Great stuff. Let's get into the nitty gritty here. The important stuff. There were a couple of things that came out of the Eagles 24-20 win that were both positive, negative, neutral, but some developments that we have to talk about. The first thing that really struck us, and we talked about it even before kickoff, was that Azeez Ojulari was not active for the game. And, neither was Obo Okoronkwo. So they really, Adam, went with you can call it a 4-man edge rotation, because Patrick Johnson was elevated and did play, but really it's a 3-man one. And it feels like this is what Vic likes. I mean, going back to the end of last year, Jalix Hunt, he had Nolan Smith and Josh Uche. So no Azeez Ojulari, who signed a 1-year, $9 million up to
No. It was just over $4 million. They guaranteed $3
million.
Oh,
right. I'm sorry. Yeah. There was some incentives and stuff, but still, that's not like a $650,000 guarantee.
No, look, it wasn't a 1-year veteran minimum deal. I mean, it's the fact that they now have, and we'll get to that in a minute. It's a very interesting signing they have. We'll see if it turns out to be as good as I think it is. But it's a situation now where you look at it, and we've been talking about their pass rush. That when we talked about what are the biggest concerns coming into the season, corner opposite Mitchell, it just showed up bad, in that game. Joey Jackson didn't play particularly well. And pass rush. Pass rush wasn't really there. Those are the two biggest issues we had coming into the season.
Yep.
If you really follow team, for the reporters who went to training camp, they already knew this. And unfortunately, it reared its ugly head. It's a problem. See, the thing is, it's like you could scheme up all you want. I know the Eagles are a big sim pressure team. They don't blitz a lot. But, man, they found a way to win. Considering Carter, obviously, if Jalen Carter's in there, they're going to be much better. We all know that. Yeah. But from an edge standpoint, they just don't get enough pressure, and that's the concern.
Yeah, and so what that led to is in the days after, the Eagles signing a 3-time Pro Bowl edge rusher who's kind of been making the rounds on the good teams the last few years, and that's Za'DariusSmith, who I like the signing at him because he does fit what they do. He's played in a offense that requires you to both rush the passer and drop. Now, they want him to rush the passer. That's what he does.
That's the only reason why he's here.
Yeah, that's the reason why he's here. But but the point is, you wouldn't get like a 4-3 defensive end for this hand in the dirt guy. You do want a guy who understands the concepts of the Vic Fangio style defense or the 3-4 front, and Za'Darius Smith has played in that.
Oh, he's almost basically, if you go back to Baltimore, Green Bay, Minnesota, and then Cleveland. Before he got to Cleveland, he was in a 34. And then for the first time in his career, in fact, I remember this great interview he did on NFL radio during the 24 training camp tour. Yeah, this is Schwartzy was using him because he runs a 43 front, not only just stand up, but in nickel to play inside. So I mean, that BG role, I'll tell you what, I could see it. And he's bigger physically, much bigger physically than BG.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he doesn't play, if they need him to play inside. He just turned 33 today, by the way. It's funny, September 8th. He turns 33. No injury history really to speak of. He was with the Lions last year. And by the way, he was making too much money. The Lions released him, but they had interest in bringing him back, but they couldn't. They obviously didn't agree to do a deal. And by the way, these things don't. It's not like the Eagles called his agent on was it Friday? Hey, by the way, is he unsigned? Okay, let's sign him now. I'm sure they were looking at Za'Darius Smith and others on their emergency list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just don't wait. You always have dialogue with an agent. Hey, if we need to, we're going to revisit this. But I'll be interested to see what happens with the Lions going forward with their pass rush. I have concerns about it, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a really good pickup. I know somebody in the comments said this feels like a Robert Quinn thing. Remember when they traded for Robert Quinn, he was hurt. He had injuries. They just didn't do a great job, I think, of understanding the full extent of Quinn's injuries at that point. Za'Darius Smith was an impactful player last year for the Lions in the 8 games he played. I mean, we don't always sacks are just an individual stat. He did have 10 quarterback hits, but if you took 4 sacks and 10 quarterback hits over 8 games and projected that into a full season of 17, that's 8 and 20. That's pretty good that you're getting from a number 3 pass rusher. So the guy can play. I think Sam Finkel will have some more data when we do Inside the Data as far as his pass rush win rate. Things like that. I think they were pretty high last year. They're pretty good for a guy who has to be a rotational piece.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Let's move this forward. So Patrick Johnson actually played 12 snaps on defense. So he acted as the 4th edge rusher. He's back in the practice squad. Epps, by the way, is also back to the practice squad. They cut Kenyon Green on Saturday. Waivers run today at 4 p.m. Eastern. If he clears, you would think they bring back the practice squad because no one claimed him the first time around, so you would think you go back there. But getting back to edge, they've got 6 on their 53-man roster. Are they going to just sit? What's it going to be like the Rob Thompson? Who am I going to sit in the outfield? Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know. I can't help but think that there's something that's going to have to give here. And I mean, the obvious thing would be Ojulari because he was not even active for week 1. But I don't know the contract. I have no idea. I mean, listen, over the last 2 years, Howie has not been afraid to move off a guy with a big contract. He did it last year with Devin White.
All right. So on that one, they had an agreement. Yeah, they had an agreement. Like he was willing to take less money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could look. Ojulari's agent could do the same thing if he wants to play. They could always say, "Hey, listen, we'll cut you, but we're not going to owe you that $3 million. Maybe you settle for like $1.5 million. The cash is a little bit over $4 million, but the total guarantee, I believe, is $3 million. So anyway, Obo's on a 1-year veteran minimum deal. It's interesting. He played with Za'Darius Smith in Cleveland. It's kind of funny.
Oh, it is funny.
He's here. And Uche, look, he's got good quicks, man. He's just a smaller guy. I mean, this third role, but look, you'd like to have more length and more power. That's where Za'Darius-Smith comes in. Guy's a proven pass rusher. I love the signing. I don't know what the contract looks like. I haven't gotten it yet. Right. I do wonder if they paid him decent coin because being that he's like one of the best edges out there, clearly is. He would have some leverage here, so it's interesting.
Definitely. By the way, he just turned 33, so he is a little up there in age. So obviously have to limit his snaps. But you have 6 rushers, but you also have Patrick Robinson or Johnson still on the who'll probably revert back to the practice squad. He did. So, and he's a good special teamer. So really, you have 7. So something just something really has to give here. It just can't stay like that.
Remember, 69-man roster, right? 69-man roster. The edges on the practice squad will be Patrick Johnson. By rule, he has to revert back there. Yeah, so that's your 7th. Now, that's it. Chance Campbell's is actually a backer, a linebacker. Mm-hmm. He's not an edge rusher. So, 7 is the number is 5 or 6. That's what we were told. How the clubs look at it. On the 69-man roster, you want 5 to 6 edges. 7 is excessive. So now Patrick Johnson is a good special teams player. That's really why he's here. I'll tell you what. This is Za'Darius-Smith. Once he knows what he's doing, he's going to play. I mean, he has to. He's no offense to the other guys who were benched or inactive. You call it whatever you want. Seems to me he's more ready to go than the other guys would be in terms of physically being ready. I know he hasn't been with a team in a while. They got to see him, but the dude is built, man. This guy's a good football player. I'm kind of surprised that Detroit didn't bring him back. I know they talked about it, but they did. Ultimately, the Eagles beat him to it.
Yeah. And by the way, I just think that we're learning about Vic. What he seems to prefer to me, Adam, is he is sort of the anti-Jim Schwartz. Jim wants to have like 6 edge rushers, play them all, rotate them in and out based on down and distance. Vic's got 3 guys. To me, he wants his 3 guys. He wants his 2 starters, and he wants a good, reliable number 3, which you think right now is Hunt and Smith. And when he's ready, Za'Darius-Smith will be the other 3rd. But I that's why I say something's got to give here, because this is not a guy who wants to go 4 or 5 deep in his edge rotation. Yeah. He hasn't done it yet.
Well, Uche right now is the 3. But Smith is just so much more imposing physically. He's been a better pass rusher. Uche's done it 1 year, okay? 22. So 3 years ago.
And he didn't play that much. If you look at the snaps, right? You have the snaps. I mean, he really played Jalen Hunt, Nolan Smith, and then the drop-off between that and Uche, and then from Uche to the 11 snaps that Patrick Johnson played. He really just he leans heavily on the top 2 and just wants a good, reliable number 3.
Before we move on, one thing that worries me about that. Now, I know Jordan Davis, by the way, had his best game as an Eagle. He didn't wear down.
Yeah.
He physically didn't get stood up. Like he played. We'll talk more about this on Inside the Tape with Greg Cosell later this week. But Jordan Davis played very well.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: if you think you're going to play Jordan Davis 87% of the snaps, he's not done this before. I'd have to look it up. I don't know if he's ever played 60% of the snaps in any game. No, it was only 61 snaps total for the team. Bond, Blankenship, and Mitchell played every snap. But you have to, because the stamina thing, you do worry about that going forward. But I'm sure, now we'll see what Vic says when he talks to the media, but you would assume that Vic, by the way, Vic's the ultimate, I know you were hitting at. Vic's not doing this unless he thinks Davis. I know that Carter didn't play, so he had to make a quick decision. But they're not doing that unless they think Jordan Davis played well. Like he looked really good.
Yep.
And by the way, Jordan Davis also played on special teams too. He played 9 snaps. So he played great. He's always been a week-to-week guy, but let's see if he can build on this and just play good, solid, consistent football.
100%. All right, let's get to the other development that I think is going to have a bigger impact than people realize. I know you do too. We've talked about it. Ben VanSumeren, who just has the worst luck in the world on the opening kick, even before Jalen Carter gets thrown out of the game, suffers a knee injury. He's out for the year. It was a patella, right? Isn't that what the report
was? It was reported, yeah, ESPN and others. Yep.
That's rough because that's as we have detailed many times. It's not as rough as it was 20 years ago, but it's still the roughest of all of the knee injuries to have. And he was just coming off of a knee surgery.
ACL,
right? I mean, this is tough because for 2 things. One, I really do think, and we may never get the chance to see it, depending on whether he comes back or not. I was of the mindset, just through some information and just observation, that they didn't use him much in the preseason for a reason. They knew how good of an athlete he was. They knew how good his hands were. I kept saying, think Kyle Juszczyk light, where he's not just a regular fullback. You can get him the ball. You can do some different things with him, throw him the ball, run with the ball. We'll never get a chance to see that. So that's a little bit of the evolution of the offense that the Eagles have talked about that cannot now happen. And secondly, and this is bigger, right? When you combine the loss of Johnny Wilson, a good blocker out of 11 personnel, and then the loss of Ben VanSumeren, who is now takes away your ability to have 22 personnel, all right, which is 2 backs, 2 receivers, your running game is not as good as it used to be because of the blocking. And you saw that. I mean, Saquon had an okay game against Dallas, but not a Saquon Barkley game.
Well, he had some good runs. He got it. On your point, though,
he made them himself. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't block as usually would. Although I'm going to disagree slightly. The reason why VanSumeren was moved to fullback because he's a big-time athlete. They wanted to take advantage. Blocking, we have no idea if he could block because he was new for him.
But the tape on his blocking last year was really good. I remember we did one with Greg. I forget what game it was he played, but he was, lining up almost like that.
Good. Yeah, doing it.
Low tight end, coming across the line of scrimmage. And that is something that they were working all year and offseason with him on to be that fullback. So, I mean, remember, it's more the idea that if you come out in 22, you dictate them in base, right? Your defense is certainly going to come out in base.
Yes.
And then if you can kind of flex him out and throw it to him out of a base, that adds a little element.
That's a good point. Right. But my point is a little different. My point is the reason why he switched positions is simply because he's an athlete. Greg told us he had heard that VanSumeren had great hands. He's a really good athlete. Was he a high school tight end? I don't remember.
He was a high school running back.
Running back. Okay. Yeah. Right. So guy's a big time athlete, and it's just sad. Now I have no idea if it was the other knee. I don't know. Was the ACL on the other knee? I don't know. Didn't Curl Buckholder had several major knee injuries?
3. He came back.
Yeah, I thought it was 3. Yeah.
And he actually played pretty well in 06 and 07 when he as a backup to B West. Yeah.
Yeah. So our thoughts were with him, man. It's a tough deal. So no, you make fair points. The Johnny Wilson one hurt, no question. And here's the other thing I'm going to add to it. Now, you and I were talking about this over the weekend.
Yep.
They don't have a backup wide tight end. A wide tight end is an inline tight end. This is why Harrison Bryant not working out and E.J. Jenkins, who is improved as a blocker, he's on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
This is why not having that. They had 7 tight ends in training camp. None of them proved that they could be a good inline blocker behind Goddard. It's a shame.
Right. Well, I would say this: E.J. Jenkins is a wide tight end, but he really struggles to separate. So I don't think that if you put him out there, you're basically saying we're running the ball, and they want to be able.
I guess.
They want to have some optionality. Like when Grant Calcaterra is out there, they'll still run the ball. It'll hurt, and there were times against the Cowboys where it hurt, but at least you give the defense some kind of I don't know what they're going to do here. You put E.J. Jenkins out there, nobody's worried about him beating anybody down the field. That is why I agree with you. They absolutely need. It doesn't have to be a Dallas Goedert level Y. They've tried to make it work with Uzomah last year. It didn't work. There was another. Jack Stoll. That's what they need.
By the way, he's on the Saints practice squad.
Interesting.
Now, let's see what happens. They know him. He knows them. We'll see what happens. But that's where I know it's a small thing, but if certain transactions don't work out, have a hole behind Goddard as a blocker.
Right. I mean, and now if Goddard gets hurt, they're in a world. They're in a world of trouble with their running game because then they wouldn't have anybody who could put a block on. Now they use Granson in that H-back role, and he's another one who's a willing blocker, but he's not going to be the quote unquote answer. He's not going to stonewall at the end one-on-one to create an opening on the edge.
You're going to have to do is a lot of teams do this. They'll play 6 offensive linemen. That could happen if they can't find anybody on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they can't find a trade for someone who can block. I know coaches will always tell you hold on to your why and you never let them go. But unfortunately, the Eagles didn't have one who worked out. Harrison Bryant didn't work out like they thought. I was surprised he didn't perform.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that. So I'm glad we brought this up because it's a problem. Like the Eagles have some challenges, but it's only week 1. They did win. The Chiefs, so they're all beat up now. They got the Rice suspension. Then Worthy got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. Going to miss time. Yeah. They got problems. It's early, but there are challenges here.
You got it. All right. And that was a good segue, what you said about the 6 offensive linemen, because that is certainly a possibility. But one of those offensive linemen will not be Kenyon Green. And the Eagles are clearly doing a roster tango thing with Kenyon Green. They waived him on a Saturday, which is kind of an interesting day to make a move. You're kind of hoping the GMs are already like kind of got their roster set. They're not like, yeah, of course they're looking at the waiver wire, but at this point, and they've done this twice now with Kenyon, right? Waiving and bringing him back. Yeah. They're clearly trying to hold on to him because he's a reclamation project that they would like to put some work in. But at the same time, they know he's not ready. If they did lose him, I don't think they're going to lose a whole lot of sleep over it. And they know he's far away. So they're willing to expose him out there a little bit and then probably try to bring him back on the practice squad.
Real quick. Yes. This is surprising to me. Did you know there's only one offensive lineman on their practice squad?
Really?
Yep. And it's the international player, Luke Felix Fua'alo.
Well, that's good. But they also kept 9 or 10 on their 53. So
yeah, even though where's your developmental play? Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I don't know. It's just not like them to do that. I have to look it up and see what they've done over the years. But
and remember, Hinton is on IR, so he'll.
It's true. Yep.
Yeah.
And Cameron Williams, as we said at the start of the season, we'd be surprised if he ever dresses.
Yeah.
There's been if everybody's healthy, because you got Fred Johnson, prior your backup tackles, Toth for now is the backup left guard. Drew Kendall didn't dress. He didn't play. He was inactive week 1. So we got our answer there. Now let's get to the injuries in a second here, because the man, Shipley's injury disappoints me. I feel bad for him. He got hurt early.
Yeah, hold that thought on Shipley. We will get to injuries. But, now that week 1 is behind us, you know that guy I've been talking about all last week, the guy who hits the 5-leg parlay in week 1 and then doesn't shut up about it for the rest of the season. I know he's kind of annoying, but inside, deeply, we all want to be that guy. And we could be that guy. We could be the big winner, and we could be the ones gloating if we're using MyBookie, because MyBookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action, whether it's college ball, NFL, super contests, survivor pools, you name it. All the spreads, player props, and in-game lines you can want are all under one roof with MyBookie. Are you new to MyBookie? That's all right. We got a deal for you. Use our promo code, the Birds, all one word, THEBIRDS. Any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Who else gives you that? $500 fully covered. So make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. Say that 3 times fast. Bet back bonus token. No better time to jump in. No better place to play. Football is back. Let us make some money with MyBookie. All right, the injuries. You mentioned Will Shipley. He only wound up playing 5 snaps before leaving with that rib injury, Adam. And that's another hit to the run game as we talk about the blocking and the ball carrying element.
Boy, did he look good though before he got hurt on that catch. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. His ability to turn up field. He's got good hips, man. He turned up field. We saw Andrew and I saw this training camp for 2 years now. So yeah, and that's why you saw AJ Dillon in there. We'll see. It's not good. I mean, the fact that he did not return, that would concern me. Now, AJ Dillon replaced him. Right now, if Shipley can't play Sunday at the Chiefs, the only back they have left on the 53-man roster, he's on the 69-man roster, Aldrick Estime, who just got here. He needs to learn the plays. Mm-hmm. It's not good. Kyle Shanahan was talking about this. If McCaffrey couldn't play, he was talking about, because Brad Robinson was only there for 3 practices, so he doesn't really know the playbook, but he knows enough to be functional to they could give him certain things to do. Man, this is a completely different offense. So it's a problem, man. They've got some challenges here.
Yeah, you got to hope that Saquon stays healthy. Well, let's just see. We'll see what happens when the injury reports come out. Hopefully Shipley will be able to play, but you're right. That would be kind of an annoying loss for them if he was hurt beyond the season opener. And then same thing, and we've been talking about this for quite a bit. Landon Dickerson could not finish the game. He limped out off the sideline, and now it's his back that's becoming a problem. He's coming off the knee surgery. I just, if you're just Stellan, you got to have I guess it's Brett Toth for now, but you got to be prepared to that 6 offensive lineman that you might want to use to help run in the run game. He maybe actually have to be your 5th offensive lineman as your starting left guard, and then you're reaching even further for that extra offensive lineman if you do want to go to a 6-man O-line. I'm concerned about Landon Dickerson this year.
Yeah.
I really am. Anytime you have that much wear and tear in such a short span, it's a concern.
I mean, he's a big dude. He's got a lot of weight to him. supporting that 6'6" frame. Yeah, so they don't. It's. I mean, kind of what happened week one. And generally, if you're inactive week one, they just don't think you're ready. So Drew Kendall not being active, we knew he took limited snaps at left guard. He's also a smaller player. Brett Toth has been there. He's been trained at left guard. No, he's not. He's not a great option.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine the Eagles want to address this. At least I should say 70-man roster, not 69. Why is it 70? Because they got the international player who we talked about earlier. So technically it's 70. But they have to add somebody to the practice squad at some point over the next 3-4 weeks. They got to add a veteran guard / center. They don't really have a choice at this point because Pryor he never played left guard before. He got some reps late in training camp. You really like to have someone experienced that could do it. If Dickerson can't play.
Sure.
Who's played.
It certainly feels like they only want to play Pryor on the right side by having Toth play left guard and go in because Pryor is far more experienced than Brett Toth.
Oh, well, obviously he's been a starter.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's the situation to monitor as well. So you've got the backup running back, the starting left guard situation. I think other than that, they made it. Oh, one thing, and we'll ask Greg about this. All right. Just when I was watching some of the All 22, by the way, NFL Pro is amazing. I was
good
using that last year. Okay. I was just using the regular All 22, but NFL Pro is unbelievable. If you're a fan and you just like to watch stuff, it's worth the money.
What are they? Anything new? Anything new this year on that?
Well, I mean, it's my first year using it, so I just cool. Their cut-ups. Like you could just type a name in and find all this guy's cut-ups. You don't have to go through like an entire game.
Yes. Real quick. So what happened was, I don't know how I found this. I tape stuff of NFL Network. They have some really cool shows in there occasionally in terms of stuff you wouldn't normally see. They actually did a half an hour on data and NFL Pro. I have to see it over the summer. I have no idea how I found it.
Wow.
I was like mesmerized. Like this is now. I'm like, if they do this, oh my God, like because they want to incorporate. It's funny everything you just said. Like lots of crazy data that you wouldn't find anywhere, and great tape. And see on I know Greg Cosell always talks about with NFL Films, he could put some search terms in and find anything he wants off tape.
Right.
It's great. So that's cool. Oh, that's so great to know. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, the search filter on NFL Pro is pretty darn good. Probably not as extensive as what Greg has, but
of course, yeah.
Because Greg, I think you can type in like 11 personnel and 10 personnel.
It's insane. Like he just watch the matchup show. The stuff that they have, you can tell.
Yeah, it's really good. But no, NFL Pro is good. And what was my point? Oh, so I was watching some of the offensive tape, and I will ask Greg, but the usage and the way AJ Brown looked like he was running made me think that he's not 100. Like he's cleared to play, so he's fine. But like he didn't look to me like the normal AJ Brown. And then the routes, there weren't a whole lot of downfield routes for him. So I don't know if that was maybe just the way they drew up the playbook to face Dallas. You would think with Dallas's secondary situation. Yeah. And of course we're not doctors, and neither is Greg. But we'll say, hey, did you know something different about the usage?
There was one last year. I don't remember the player. Because we had asked someone who was grading Eagles tape, hey, could you take a look at this player? Because we had heard the guy didn't look quite right. And they found something. Yeah, the guy was like, I can't remember what player it was, but was favoring one knee or whatever.
I think it was AJ. I think it was actually AJ. I remember.
Oh, that was with the knee. You know what? That he hurt his knee last year. Remember they kept him in. They should have pulled him against the Steelers.
Yes.
That's when he had the knee. Yeah. And but yeah, at this point, AJ Brown had the hamstring injury. He was not on the injury report, though. It doesn't mean you're not nursing someone. To be clear, you can be nursing an injury, not being on the injury report.
All right. The Jalen Carter situation, it feels like there's something brewing there, and the NFL is looking at it. And I don't know if there have been suspensions for spitting in the past, but
I know
we do know that they're cracking down this year on sportsmanship and personal conduct and weaving them in. So it wouldn't shock me if there was some kind of discipline here that was beyond the
fine. I'd be stunned. He's going to get fined. But the question is, does he get suspended? If he does, it's strictly and I would love to read the fine letter. I've read a ton of fine letters over the years. It's so hilarious. Whether it's John Runyon of all people, but John, who we know and love, Troy Vincent, whoever it is, it's sportsmanship. The competition committee. I don't know what's happened. Like for years, they talked about the taunting. I get that you shouldn't taunt anyone. But man, this crackdown. And look, it's been out there. They've been talking about it, and whoever's been interviewed from the league office is they really want to crack down on taunting and sportsmanship. And the competition committee, that's a big deal for them. That's a big point of emphasis, as they say. So, and look, life without Carter is not great. Now they played an inferior team against Dallas. If he can't play, if he's suspended, that would not be good on the road. But the Chiefs have their own problems, which we'll get into later this week.
Yeah, they do, man. I feel like the Eagles are once again drawing the Chiefs at the right time from an injury standpoint and a matchup standpoint. But obviously, if the Eagles were without Jalen Carter, though, that will complicate some things. And Jalen. So let's leave it on this. Jalen showed some leadership abilities that were pretty good throughout camp and the offseason. Yeah. Players even talked about it. But it also goes to show you that you can be like just one step away from kind of reverting back to what you once were. And I think the big issue for me is no Brandon Graham, no Fletcher Cox, no Jason Kelsey. And this was discussed on Birds Weekly that you guys will hear. Ray and Gunner made a great point about this. By the way, that show I listen, it's you're gonna love Birds Weekly.
Can't wait. Yeah,
some
you were telling
great anecdotes. Oh man,
awesome,
just unbelievable. But the fact that Jalen is a leader now, Jalen Carter, in just his third year, and there's not somebody on that defense that has the either elder statesman like time or an all-time Eagle like Brandon to say, hey, pull him out of there, or don't even take the bait on Dak.
Good point.
Is not great. Like, they're really missing that kind of leadership element, and we'll see how that manifests. I'm not gonna use this one moment and say that's the example, and the whole season's gonna be like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you can certainly draw a parallel there, or a conclusion that they're a very young defense and they don't have a lot of veteran leaders.
It's a good point. That's the one thing you don't really have on defense, other than Bond, who would be that guy. He's really, when I talk, it's funny. And I wonder what the record is for the least amount of vested veterans. That's 4 years or more. Ojomo, Davis, Carter, Smith, Campbell, Hunt, Mitchell, Makuba, Blankenship. So they've got 9 of their 11 starters are not vested. It's just Torrey Jackson for now is starting.
Wow.
That and Bond, that's insane. I wonder if the history of the last since the Jeffrey Lurie is on the team. I wonder what the record is for least amount of vested veterans to start a season in the lineup. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, last year they had guys. I mean, they had Slay, they had BG, they had Josh Sweat. He had been with the team for quite a while. Yeah, he's vested, right? And I think CJ Gardner-Johnson might have been.
Oh yeah, he was
vested. Yeah. So they had guys who were all different in their own right. I mean, there were times where CJ Gardner-Johnson developed into a leader, and then times he did not. But at least he was accountable. Though for his bad times, he was accountable.
Yeah, and I've heard good stuff about Za'Darius Smith in the locker room. I've heard he's one of those guys. So, their youth caught up to them a little bit with Carter. We'll see. But I'll say this, and we'll actions speak loud on the words. Very contrite, said it won't happen again.
Yep.
Now I don't know how Vic Fangio and Hurd and Sirianni feel about it, and Howie-Roseman, but that cannot happen. That was just imagine if that had been a playoff game.
Oh no, that would be horrible.
That would have been in this market. Oh, I don't want to think about it. That would not be.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, luckily we don't have to. It was only a regular season game.
And they won.
They won. And they're 1-0. And I really look forward to the week coming up here on Inside the Birds and all the great programming we have to offer everybody, all of our listeners and viewers. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.